Hey there, everyone. My name is Eric Richards from Springs Houses Online Realty. So, I want to riff on this idea of why are houses so expensive and why we have problems with inventory and interpreting the tea leaves of how prices ebb and flow, even when we have high interest rates, but we seemingly have a lot of inventory. For those people who have spent some time with me shopping the market, they know that my focus on real estate is highly analytical. Not only am I diving into the hypotheticals of how homes are priced and how to make the appropriate offer on a home, but I'm also deeply involved in kind of making sure that the national housing data gets boiled down appropriately to our Colorado Springs and surrounding areas real estate. So the New York Times published an article basically saying, hey, what's going on with why houses are so expensive? Basically, in this paragraph, they highlight that after the Great Recession, that we didn't have enough homes being built in order to keep up with population growth. So it makes sense. As the population continues to rise, housing needs to track with it, and that didn't occur. Furthermore, the National Association of Realtors currently estimates that the United States is between 2.5 and 5.5 million units short. And they go on to specify some specific numbers how we had not kept pace with the demands of the day in that particular moment in order to hit the needed supply. Why is that such a big deal? Well, to basically state the obvious, we have more people wanting to move into property, full stop. And if you're not building more as the old homes go out of service, you end up with a shortage issue. So, how do we make sense of this all in Colorado Springs? Well, we don't have a lot of abandoned houses like older Rust Belt states like Michigan, Ohio, Upper New York State, um, Illinois, the older parts, where there aren't many houses that are vacant in downtown Colorado Springs. They're all being used. But in those other cities, it's not uncommon for an entire city block of, say, 20 homes to have five that are vacant because they simply are uninhabitable. And the cost to rehab those to a livable standard is very expensive. So we end up with data that looks a lot like this, where when we go back and look at things, we see total active inventory, total number of sales, and an average price that just continually creeps up. It creeps up because our inventory is fresh, it's vibrant, and it's available. In other markets, prices have stayed down or trend down because there is some crummy real estate that drives people out of those markets into markets where there's more availability. So what's the silver lining in all of this? Why now? Why bring this up? I want to state the obvious, which is high interest rates make buying real estate a awful proposition because it's more than rent and it's untenable to think I've got to take on repairs or ownership costs in addition to 6 and 7% rates. Right now, the silver lining in all of this is you have choices, you have inventory, and you have time. So when you go to look at a property, you can see it 1 to 2 times before having to make a decision. Furthermore, things look better now from the inventory standpoint, as well as the lower number of sales from a buyer's point of view, meaning that you can take some time, you can negotiate, you can ask for some concessions, and you can get your inspection items handled. Compare and contrast this back to COVID errors, where we saw July, June, summer months of really good sales, but the amount of inventory was so low in this category right here that these sales kind of almost match pace with what's going on here. So there's still people buying homes, there's still people making sense of it all. I wanted to put out this video to emphasize the idea that even though this looks pretty bleak, and the New York Times report basically saying that we aren't keeping up with production, on a national level, it seems pretty scary. But in Colorado Springs, we're doing okay. We have inventory. And once you begin to understand why housing prices continue to go up, it makes sense. So If you have questions, if you want to dive into this further, please reach out to me. I hope you have a great weekend, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.